This climate adjuster is amazing. It's leftover from the mech raid and it constantly keeps my jungle at a minus 10 degrees Celsius. So now I have a nice kind of temperate jungle, I guess. I'm actually going to stop refueling some of my passive coolers because they're just wasting wood. And we're going to focus on chopping up all the raiders' bodies and making human meat to feed to our prisoners. So it's a simple process, really. You cut up the bodies and you put the meat into the nutrient processor and then you feed it to the amputated prisoners. They don't like it, but they don't have a choice because, well, they can't walk. We also need to rebuild our spike traps so that we can defend our inbound raids. We're playing on Randy Random, and if you haven't watched any of my past videos, I suggest you watch from the beginning, but we are trying to accumulate and capture 40 prisoners for the Empire. To do so, we do need some people to help us, including this child that we accepted into our community. I figured, why not? We already have so many freaking children in this game. What's one more? The funny thing about this kid, though, is he's actually biologically a waster, so that means that he's dependent on Psychite Tea. But we have a lot of Psychite Tea to give him. We also have one prisoner that needs Psychite Tea to prevent from dying, so also a waster. So between the two of them, they can use it, and our people will periodically drink the tea just for a mood boost. Dunn is not of our ideology, though, so we're simultaneously trying to convert him as well as defend our colony from the people that were chasing him. So we did get the spike traps built back, or at least the majority of them. There's still a few missing at the end. However, these raiders come in multiple waves, so we're going to have to not only defend this first wave, but there's a few more up north and a few more pathing through the river by our climate adjuster. We don't have time to rebuild all of the spike traps or go out there and build them while they're currently raiding us, so we're going to have to face them head on inside our base, which is something that our people are not total strangers of. The issue now, though, is that we have no elephants, we have no rhinoceroses in the area, so we're going to have to fight them the old-fashioned way, which is hide behind some rocks and shoot them as they run in. We also have no turrets set up yet. The purpose of this video is to kind of show the preliminary kill box. So we will get some turrets set up, but first we have to fight these people off. I have some pretty good melee fighters. Like I mentioned before, one issue with this colony is that half of the colony are infants and children. So they can't really help us fight, but we can fight off a kind of semi-decent raid. Balls actually has a heavy SMG that we captured off some dead raiders, and then our other people have their melee weapons that they can use once they get close to shoot them in the head with. Although one thing I forgot was that there was more people coming, so there's actually a few more trickling in that we didn't even realize was happening, and we're in the process of actually capturing some prisoners and just going about our normal business when 3 more people actually came in. Dunn, the kid who we just recruited, is like just going about his business transporting some blood packs and almost gets shot, walks right into the crossfire. This guy's trying to blow up our wood fire generator. It won't be long before we stop this without too much trouble. One good thing about this child is that, well, we got this new quest and now we have more bodies and we'll have more human meat to feed them. Our goal is just to slowly chop up the legs of our prisoners so that we can prevent them from escaping. And I don't know if you watched the last video, but one way we prevent them from escaping, at least initially, while we're waiting to chop their legs off, is to heavily anesthetize them. And another funny thing about making a bunch of human meat and chopping up a bunch of human bodies is that it leaves a bunch of clothes everywhere. And it's kind of annoying because we don't have an incinerator yet, so we have to take all these clothes outside and just dump them in the rain and wait for them to slowly deteriorate. Although our kitchen is becoming quite full with the remains and clothes of all of the prisoners that we have cut up. Or I should say raiders, they weren't actually technically prisoners yet. But Tails is pregnant now, and our Empire Prison 417 Bravo is quickly turning into Empire Daycare 417 Bravo, and I'm slowly starting to contemplate the possibility of, yeah, sterilization. Right. So, tubal ligation, if you will, meaning that we will stop these females from having so many babies, as it is something that they are very adept at. In addition, they spend so much time caring for their babies and children that they don't really have time for other things like research, farming, building, wardening, etc. I just thought these 4 kids were cute. They wanted herbal medicine, which I actually gave to them. Figure, you know what, some of these beggar quests you gotta do just because it's kind of fun. And maybe it'll come back and pay us some rewards in the future. But yeah, we do need to regrow our heal root. Now we went from over 100 heal root down to 65 now because of that quest. And we're also trying to slowly convert done to our ideology. That's what that noise was. But this is our prison so far. And right now we're in the process of prison expansion. Much like the California correctional system, we need more room to house more prisoners, and we also need more correctional officers to regulate their imprisonment. So we are quickly chopping away at some walls inside the prison room itself, and we have a couple things we're actually trying to do. We're actually trying to build 2 separate kill boxes. We're trying to build one for the main entrance, and then in the next video I'll show that we're actually going to try to build a kill box for the prison room itself in case of bug infestation, because this is the most sort of biggest and populated room under the mountain, so more likely that the bugs will come in there, and we don't want the bugs coming in there and killing our prisoners, or if they do come in there, we at least want some quick defense in there. So we're going to build a turret box that's adjacent to the prison room. And Dunn is slowly becoming a miner, but nowhere near as Charlie, who has a drill arm installed. And you can kind of see the beginnings of our kill box here. We have some turrets built finally, and we have a raid coming in that we can test it on, if they can make it through our spike traps. However, this raid actually will end up decimating itself before it even gets to our turret system, as our wooden traps will deftly take care of this situation, at least this raid. In the meantime, work continues. The nice thing about expanding our room where we did is that there was a steel vein in there, so not only are we building our base out, but we also have steel right next to our prison, which we need to make the flooring. So we're doing all steel tiles so that we can keep it clean and clean it quickly. That way we can also cut off their legs more efficiently, because if they're in a dirty room on the floor, harder to cut off their legs. If they're in a clean medical prison bed with a steel floor, easier to cut off their legs. And we're kind of in the process of maybe arranging them a little more efficiently here. I'm right now up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 prisoners. So that's pretty nice. We're getting close. We're almost a quarter of the way there. And our turrets are coming online, and we've got some sandbags built. These sandbags are actually built out of human leather. So we're putting use to our raiders in many different ways, not just from our nutrient paste feeder. And this raid is coming in now. There's 5 people over there, and there's a few more up on the north side too. So we are going to need to fight off some of them through the kill box. That's also in light of the fact that we did not have time to rebuild our spike traps from that previous small raid. We had a couple granite spike traps built, but overall we're going to have to use our turrets. Our kill box is still super messy with all these stone chunks, but effective nonetheless. They say that each turret is equivalent to a pawn with level 9 shooting and like a basic rifle. I kind of believe it. I mean, it really just stacks in proportion to how many turrets you have. 1 turret alone, not excellent. 3 turrets together, much better. I get 5 built eventually, and my goal is to build some auto cannons behind them that can shoot directly at the entrance as well. That's why this turret and killbox system is arranged this way. They do still break through sometimes, but if they break through, then that's when our melee fighters come in. So we finally kind of have an effective turret system. The goal is to not have to rely super heavily on spike traps, because they're annoying to rebuild all the time. We also want to move some of these chunks out of here, because we at least want them in front of the kill box, and then we obviously eventually want to chop them up into blocks so that we can use them, especially for flooring and stuff. As is Rimworld, however, we soon get another raid, and these are a bunch of Yatkins. They're coming in with some significant numbers, although they're coming in 3 separate waves, which is completely fine with me. You know, if they were to gather together smartly and rush all at once, would be much more difficult for us. Probably actually overwhelm us. I think in total there's 9 or 12 of them maybe, and you know, really I only have 5 fighters. I have 10 people, but 3 of them are kids and 2 of them are babies. We do have our turrets to help us, and we also would be nice to recruit some more animals, but for now we're going to use our turret system. We stack up appropriately behind the wall, and you can see we're starting to get it cleared out and the kill box a little more organized. This Yatkin somehow gets all the way through and gets a couple hits off on our people before we're able to get him down, even though there's like a ton of shooters all aiming at him. He runs right up to the wall of sandbags. This Yatkin also kind of makes it down pretty quick. And really that shotgun shot that helps slow them down a lot. This Yatkin's pink, which I thought was neat, and I was hoping I could catch this one as a prisoner because it has pink hair. But it's coming in a group of 3. Before that group arrives, though, this other group of Yatkins is coming. So right now I have the 3 turret shooting, which are doing okay, but I want to build 2 more turrets next to the outline of the sandboxes to the north, and then that way they'll focus on those turrets and we can shoot them while they're attacking those turrets. That'll also give us a little bit of buffer between them just running up directly onto our pawns, and if the turret blows up, that's okay. There should be enough space in between the turrets that I'll build in the future here soon and our pawns that are sitting behind the second sandbag wall. Unfortunately, the pink Yatkin dies, which is kind of a bummer. I was hoping that, yeah, we could either capture that one or maybe even recruit it. Would have been nice. Make it a new prison guard. Although the Yatkins, while they are tough and they are fierce fighters, one thing that's annoying about them is that they sleep all the time. They have this gene that makes them sleepy, so they're like sleeping way more than your normal player, which is kind of frustrating. You're always trying to do something and then they need to take a nap. But we were able to capture 2 more people from this raid, so right now we have 10 total prisoners. We are officially a quarter of the way to our final goal, and while we have some food growing and our wardening is set up correctly, we still have a long way to go before we get to the full 40. Thanks for watching, and I hope you stick around to the next video where we show the kill box evolved and also the insect box. Thank you.